The big thing is I want to just open up with Taj Harris. Taj and I had a conversation before the game, and then I told him that I would talk to him after the game. And we spoke in great detail after the game, and then he decided that the best opportunity for him is to go to the transfer portal. We wish him the best of luck, and I'm ready to take questions.
So your run offense has been very efficient the whole season without Chris Elmore. So having him back this past game, what did that do for the offense?
You know, as Chris has already stated, the first quarter was a little rough. I mean, football, he's 1 month behind, but he caught up very quickly. He had a good second half, and we expect to get better. He's one of our better blockers, one of the guys that has a lot of emotional fire to him, and we're very excited that he's back in the fold.
Coach, going back to Taj, so he's the third guy now to lead the program, and obviously they all have their reasons. Is that the way things are now, or is there any level of concern on your part that this keeps going?
You know, the young people now have control over their own things. They can make their own decisions, and they're making the decisions that they feel are best for them. We need to honor that, and that's just the sign of the times.
You treat it kind of like an injury with the rest of the team? Is that how you approach it with them? How do you explain?
No, I think they take it as a father telling the kids what to do, and they can have their own opinion. You guys are more than welcome to ask them anything that you'd like.
That first conversation you had with Taj, what issues were brought up, and why did he not travel to Florida State? Was it disciplinary? Was it his decision?
I'm not going to get into the private part of that, but once again, you can ask Taj, and if he wants to reveal that, then that's totally up to him. When I have those conversations, you guys, one thing that I've always done is to have a private conversation, it needs to be private, and it needs to be that you're not going to share with anyone else if you really want to get the truth of the matter out of it. So I'm going to uphold my end of the bargain, and if they want to reveal what the conversations were, they can do that, and based off of what they say, I'll either confirm or deny that's exactly what happened.
I think this is, just a follow-up, this is a little different than the other guys leaving. I mean, Taj, the guy you sent to ACC Media Day, you said you could see him breaking records. What's the state of the locker room, and is there anything you do to, I mean, this is an important juncture of the season, right, coming off a tough loss midway through the year. Is there anything you need to do to settle the group down, or see anyone else trying to settle the group down?
Once again, if you think the group is upset, you can ask them on Tuesday's conversations, and I'm sure they can answer those questions for you.
Okay. Brandon, you have what you said?
I did, yeah. Coach, I was just kind of wondering, and it relates to Taj, because here's a guy who would be a high target in a passing offense. It seems like the philosophy of the offense has shifted a bit. Is this who you are now as an offense, or is this who you just have to be right now based on the personnel?
I think the biggest thing anytime you have a football team is you want to try to put your best pieces forward. So you're going to operate with whoever's operating the best.
Coach, you've spoken about the balance between the offense, between the run game and the pass game. How do you feel like that, or how would you assess that balance after the Florida State game?
I think we're getting closer to what it needs to be. We need to have a couple more shots in the throwing game. I think you saw in the second half how the game looked different, maybe a little bit different than what it's looked in a while. And I think we need to continue to grow on that.
And then after the game, you said Chris Elmore looked a little bit rusty. What kind of conversations have you had with him to sort of work on whatever it is he needs to work on?
When I say rusty, that doesn't mean bad. The guy hasn't played in 5 weeks.
Right.
And if I really had to break it down, he had a bad first quarter. His next 3 quarters were really good, so rusty can be misleading a little bit.
Yeah, how are you going about replacing Taj now? Who are you looking to step up and take that wide receiver one spot, become Garrett's main target?
We scored 30 points versus Florida State at Florida State, and last time I checked, he wasn't there.
What role does Anthony Queeley play in that? Is he kind of that next guy up?
I think that we have a lot of wide receivers, and somebody will fill that void based off of the more opportunities that those other guys are going to get, the more targets that they're going to get.
James Williams was another guy that didn't travel. What can you tell us about the reasons, and do you expect him this week against Wake Forest?
I can't tell you the reasons. Reasons are, I can't tell you the reasons.
Go back to Mark McNary.
Coach, one guy that you were saying we could talk to last week that most of us did get a chance to talk to was Tommy DeVito. And apparently you've had multiple conversations with him. Did you have another conversation with him? Can you tell us this weekend? And how would you characterize how he's taking all of this?
Again, I did have another conversation with him. There was something that I really, really wanted to share with him from my heart. I did. It was a very mature conversation between both of us.
How would you say he's handling this situation?
I think that you guys get an opportunity to talk to him himself.
So we will?
If you're trying to pin me down, yes, you'll get a chance to talk to him yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his own radio show on Thursdays. You guys could ask him a question on that.
Coach, who introduced you to Cody Roscoe, and what did they say that piqued your interest?
Cody Roscoe was introduced to me by Coach Gilbert. He was a member of his football team at McNeese State when he was the head coach, and he felt that that was an individual on his team that was capable of playing at the Division I level. It was co-signed by another coach who's not here. I trust both of those guys' opinion, and we brought him here. I think that last year was a little bit of an eye-opener for him based off of how good the talent was. But once again, he's got an amazing heart. He's very courageous, and by having that 1 year and getting another opportunity to come back, I think he's really taking advantage of his second opportunity at this level.
Nathan, so the guys who have left or have seen maybe a reduced amount.
I can't hear you, Nate.
The guys who have left or have seen a reduced amount of playing time this year are guys who had key roles in 2018. Guys who had key roles in 2018. You have been very open about showing deference to older veteran players on your roster. Is there a disconnect between the older guys on offense and the direction you've taken the offense this season?
I don't believe that's the case. I think the biggest thing is we want to play the best guy no matter what. And I've always said this with our guys. You have to be honest to the family. And usually it's very clear who the best guys are. And every individual's role is to try to make it as clear as possible and don't leave it up to a choice. When you leave it up to the choice might be wrong, okay? But I don't think there's a disconnect between the olders and the youngers. I think we have a very talented younger group.
Have you gotten an explanation for why guys are leaving during the season? What is the upshot in their eyes for doing so?
They've told me in privacy. I'm not going to release it publicly. You may ask them. They're no longer members of the team. You guys can have a press conference with them anytime you want and ask them.
But does it make sense to you? Do you get it?
You know, I'm part of a family. I don't want to leave my family. I love my surname. My dad gave me my surname. I gave my daughters my surname. They're changing their last names. Bugs me a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But you're part of a family. If you're part of a family, you understand.
Stephen and Tommy.
A handful of other starters you were without, Jihad, Luke, Curtis Harper, and then Tisdale went down in the game. Any of those guys potentially back this week, and any of them done for the year?
As far as I know, because you asked a lot of questions, none of them are done for the year.
Okay.
And I can't tell you who's going to be back this week.
So Darius is interesting because he's one of your six clear veteran linemen with starting experience. I know you've rolled Carlos out at right tackle. Do you feel like that's kind of got to be the group until he's back, or is there anyone who you think maybe could contribute?
Well, you know, once again, Kalen's been doing a nice job. His role may increase.
Okay, thanks.
Tommy.
Dino, Syracuse isn't the only school that is seeing midseason transfers with the new rules. Is your program actively looking at who else is moving around in terms of open players?
You know, the transfer portal, you're not allowed to make contact with the player until he officially enters his name into the transfer portal. So it's illegal to talk to anyone before that point. Any name that's in the transfer portal, then our recruiting department will go through the names, go through the tapes, search, and see if that person would have a fit either athletically, academically, in this program. So we actively do that, but only with people in the transfer portal. We don't do it with people who are not in the transfer portal.
So that 7 years, they're taking on kind of a double role now, it seems.
Yeah, they almost like you should have doubles the staff.
Is that gonna happen?
I don't know the answer to that.
Dino, far side?
Coach, the interception by Deuce, getting around that screen like that, is that something you guys work on, consistently, and were you kind of shocked by that at all?
We do not work on it. And shock, that's an interesting word for a guy my age. I haven't seen it done before. I wouldn't say that I was shocked. I haven't seen it done before. And it was very, very unique play. Very, very unique play. And the biggest thing was not him getting into the throwing lane. I've seen guys get into the throwing lanes on stuff like that for sure. But to be able to, the catch that he made, getting in the throwing lane and made the catch that he made, and then allowing his elbows to hit the ground. Because when you catch a ball like that in your hands and your elbows hit first, and normally the elbows will separate the hands and the ball won't, you won't get the catch. But he was able to fight through all that, which is really, really big time. It was an exceptional catch. And I still would like to know if Quealy caught his ball. I have never been able to find an angle whether he caught that ball or not. I know I'm hitting you on a sidebar, but we're talking about catches because it just looked like a fantastic catch on Quealy as well, but I couldn't see a good angle to verify it.
Nate, I wanted to wait until you had a chance to review Saturday's tape.
You waited. Patience, virtue.
Did you send in the non-hold call on wax to the ACC for review?
Am I allowed to say that without getting fined? Yes.
What they tell you? Did you get a response?
Hasn't gotten a response back yet.
Since we didn't ask you to do that after the game, what did you see on that play?
I thought I saw him get yanked. There's holding on every play in a game. So you can't just say, hey, he's holding and show a picture and put it on social media and say it's holding. But they're supposed to call holding if it affects the play. If it affects the play, then the hold should be called by the official.
Coach, I know that last week it was Matthew Bergeron who described Chris Elmore as a sort of sixth lineman, and then some. Is that kind of how you view him coming back in terms of what he adds to this run game for Tucker and Drake?
You know, he's a good blocker, but if you ever watch drills, Chris can catch the ball. He can catch the ball extremely well. He reminds me of a tight end I had at the University of Arizona who ended up playing a long time in the NFL, Brandon Manu-Maleuna, who played for the Rams and played for the Bears, and I think he played for the Chargers as well. He had a long career, and he had unbelievable hands, okay? And nobody knew it because he was such a good blocker that he went in the NFL and all they did was make him block. And then they'd bring somebody 6'5", 6'6", really fast to catch the football at tight end, and he basically became a blocking tight end in the NFL. Now he went for about 9 to 10 years, had a whole bunch of contracts. I don't think he's really well-to-do. His mom and his sister is doing extremely well based off of how much money he made. And I tell Chris all the time, I said, do you want to catch a whole bunch of passes or do you want to make $1 million a year for about the next 9 to 10 years? And he is taking that. Now, he can still catch the football, I'll tell you that, but he's an unbelievable blocker. And hopefully he gets an opportunity to play in the league.
Right. And after the fact, I guess looking back, are you able to provide any comment or explanation as to why Chris was absent?
Again, that's a private thing. Chris will be available on Tuesday. You guys can ask him directly, and if he wants to answer that, based off his answer, I will confirm or deny what he said.
Tommy and Mark.
Dino, you have an undefeated Wake Forest team coming to the Dome this weekend.
A Wake Forest question.
Wake Forest question. Gotta feel it. What sticks out to you about the Demon Deacons and their success being 5-0 so far?
You know, Coach Clausen and I go way back. I followed him at BGSU. He's an excellent coach. I think the biggest thing between his team and other teams is he's got super seniors all over the board. I was going back and watching tape, and I won't tell you how far back, but they've got as many super seniors, a lot more super seniors than what people think, and he has a very, very veteran group that's been running the exact same system for a long, long period of time. They're a close family over there. They play well together. They care about each other. And I'm happy for their success. I hope they don't have a lot of success coming up here to Syracuse, but I'm really happy for his success. He's one of the guys that are really cool, one of the good guys in college football.
Mark?
You know, back to Tommy. Can you tell us if any of the conversations you've had with him have involved him perhaps entering the portal?
I will not tell you if we had any conversations like that with Tommy, but Tommy will be available on Tuesday.
With the players leaving, like they have, like they can, do you find yourself maybe trying to almost campaign in advance to keep them here? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you take extra time, a guy like him maybe to try to keep them here?
No, it's exactly the opposite. I'm not talking to any of my players about trying to keep them here. When I talk to them, it's a private conversation about how to make them better. It's no different than I was talking to a family member. The decision whether they leave here or not is not my decision to make. It's their decision. They're in control of their own careers, okay, and whether they want to get a degree from Syracuse University or not. So I don't get a vote in that.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start with Brent front.
Another one of those, you're saying the film questions. What was the offense like pre-Garrett Schrader's 55-yard touchdown, his first one, and then what you did after that?
Searching to find out exactly where we wanted to attack them at. Sometimes it takes a little while longer than others, but we figured it out.
Specifically, it felt like there were some more rollouts of play action as you went going.
I would agree with some of that.
Do you feel that's where he's probably best suited?
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Last two questions. We'll start with Steve and then end with that.
Just to expand on that, when you watched the film of Garrett, what did you take away? And he said he wanted to see things, maybe he didn't say he wanted to see things opened up early, but he expressed a little bit of frustration with how the offense started. How involved is he in, game planning might be too big of a word, but putting together a plan for Wake Forest? I don't think any of the players right now have a knowledge. Knowledge is power to put a game plan together. I think all athletes should have an opportunity to voice themselves on things that they like. And I think if you're good at what you do, you need to take that into account, because things that they like, they normally do well. And then just, what did you take away from his performance once you got a chance to look at it on film? I thought he had a real strong performance. I thought it was a lot better than the week before.
Last question, Matt.
You know, Marlowe was put in some tough situations last weekend, but overall he's having a pretty solid season. How have you seen him improve from last year to this year?
You know, when Marlowe came in, we recruited him as a running back. And some of the coaches got mad at me when he came in and said he wanted to play defense. And one thing that we've always done here is we always let kids play wherever their heart is. And I said, Marlowe, this is the first thing I said to him was, you're going to be allowed to play whatever you want to play. But you're a really good running back. He goes, yes, coach, but I can be a better linebacker. And he's worked hard at that. I think he has shown that he can make plays. I think he shows that he has shown that he shows up. He's fabulous for us on special teams. He's really holding us together. And and his play was one of those other plays that we sent in. To me, I can't talk. I'm gonna get in trouble. He was involved in a lot of big plays, and when you slow it down, and Marlowe says that he did something, Marlowe's more right than a lot of other people who are sitting around watching it. So he's a really, really good player. We're glad we got him, and I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.